Alright guys, welcome back again to more Tsukihime. Here we go again once more. She chatters away as she approaches the sofa where I'm seated. She walks with all the subtlety of a runaway model. Why do I keep saying runaway? Runway model, swaying her chest and hips in an exaggerated fashion. Yet oddly, her footsteps make no sound, almost like a ninja. I still don't know her too well, so I can't really say, but she seems particularly enthusiastic today. Or maybe, I'm just hoping that this isn't her norm.
はーい、それじゃあ患部を出してね。すぐ出してね。ちょっとサバサバするわね。上着だけ脱ぐ？脈拍と心音だけ見てくれってこと？それはダメ。嘘は良くないわよ。しきちゃん、全身悪いところだらけじゃない。膝、足首、肘、腰回りもちゃんとケアしとかないとね。これほっとくと明日までには治らないわよ。
This doctor worries me. Hearing this makes me sit straight up without thinking. It seems I need to make a serious reassessment of Professor Arak. I still have my clothes on, so that means she was able to detect all that just by touching me?
それはわかります。プロだもん。しきちゃんが生まれる前から、言い過ぎか。しきちゃんがこんな小さい時から人体見てるのよ。ぶっちゃけ顔色見ただけで内臓のダメージまで分かったわよ。そういうわけなんでおとなしくパンツになってね。湿布は邪魔くさいだろうからできるだけ軟膏で済ませてあげる。あとは点滴ね、栄養剤。とにかくいろいろ足りてないでしょ。
はい。いや、パンツになるって。はい。
パンツはパンツじゃん。要はパンツだけになれって話。トウシちゃんそれで退出してるんでしょ。いいじゃんパン1。私好きだな。なんなら全裸でもいいわよ。
This is one hell of a carefree doctor.
お酒飲んでませんよね。
飲んでないわよ。私いつも真剣だもん。と言いたいところだけど、実はハイなの。すごくハイ。昨日の夜から脳内麻薬分泌しまくり。私生活が充実してきたっていうの。ここのところルーチンワークばっかりだったからさ、やっぱり生活には波乱が必要よね。そのあたりしきちゃんには大感謝だから、今朝は特別にきっちり見てあげましょう。
っていつの間にか脱げてる。
Professor Arak has already gotten my shirt off somehow. Just how experienced is she? There's no point resisting. It would only delay the inevitable. I settle on not getting stripped completely naked and do my best to dodge Professor Arak's magical fingers. Yes, please do what you can, man. The whole thing takes about 10 minutes. She applied an ointment to the areas where the inflammation was particularly bad and wrapped tape around my joints. It's not the most elaborate treatment, but I feel much better already. If only she could keep her mouth shut, she'd be a great doctor.
でも器用に怪我したものね。肩甲骨のあたりとかちょっと普通じゃない感じ。何？喧嘩の相手は一人や二人じゃなかったの？というか刃物持ち出してない相手。
See, the funny thing with Shiki's comment is that as much as I kinda agree with him, it would take away from her its eccentricity if we removed her quote-unquote talking. Like, as a doctor, as a professional, obviously, like he said, she's doing her job, she's good at it, but if she didn't talk, she would probably be less interesting.
いや、そんなことはないですけど。すみません、アラク博士。このことはアキハには黙っていてもらえますか。
博士って言った。よし、黙る。博士と言ってくれたしきちゃんのお願いなら何でもだいたい3割ぐらいまで聞いちゃう。
I'm glad she agreed to keep quiet, but 30% seems rather low.
でも本当に昨日は何をしていたのかしら。しきちゃん右手側だけ怪我してないし、 もしかして誰かと一緒だった？その人が隣にいたから片側だけスキンガードされてたとか？
She is very perceptive indeed.
別にそんなことはありません。一人でした、ずっと。
まあいいけど、もし他に怪我しちゃった人がいたら教えてね。しきちゃんがこれだと一緒にいた人もひどい怪我してそうだし、浅い傷口でも感染症だってあるし、本人が平気だと思っても毒はゆっくり回っていくものだしね。
At this, I remember how Ciel covered me as she fought. Professor Arak was right on the money. Ciel looked fine, but the injuries she sustained were many times greater than mine.
ま、しきちゃんが一人だったっていうならいっか。
I mean, Ciel also had a head start too, so...
でもまだ体力は戻らないわよね。よし、後で点滴でもしとこっか。せっかくしきちゃん用の点滴パックを預かってるわけですし、バンバン使って在庫なくさないとトシちゃんから次のお小遣いがもらえないっていうか。そんなわけで食後は部屋でウルトラ点滴タイム決定。1時間ぐらいかかるから午前中開けておいてね。それじゃ、じゃあ。
Like the Roadrunner. She scuttles out of the room. It's been 20 minutes since Akiha left. I should get to the dining room and have breakfast. I've kept Kawaku waiting long enough. Now that I've had breakfast, it's time to get the IV from Professor Arak. I lie down during the process and accidentally doze off. Professor Arak left the mansion once the IV drip was finished. The clock now reads noon. I feel a lot better now thanks to her. If nothing else, I shouldn't have any problems walking. I won't be able to go all that far, but where should I spend the afternoon? You're gonna give me the... Could take a walk around the garden. I'm gonna visit CL. Is Akiha even gonna let me? I guess we'll find out. Let's check up on her, shall we?
ダメ元で行ってみても罰は当たらないよな。
Miss Noel said that they would leave town once the vampire was eliminated. But it hasn't even been a day yet. It takes time to move, so I think there's a good chance that Tia will still be at her apartment. I tell Hisui I'm going out for a bit, and she dutifully sees me off to the gates.
四季様、お帰りは何時頃でしょうか。
すぐに帰ってくる。知り合いの家にお礼を言いに行くだけだから。
かしこまりました。それでは行ってらっしゃいませ。
I leave the mansion, walk down the hill, and go through the residential district before arriving at the north exit of the station. Not even a full day has passed since last night's events. The area is surrounded by do not enter signs and an abundance of security personnel. It feels really excessive, with one guard stationed every 5 meters or so. Even a cat would have trouble sneaking in. I can't get any closer to the site, but I have more business with the pile of rubble. Sales apartments on the opposite side of the station, in the residential area full of buildings from bygone eras. I ring the doorbell, but no one answers. It was pointless to come here. Ciel's long gone. Not in the mood to go straight home, I killed time aimlessly wandering around the north exit. I couldn't work up the courage to ask the person living next door if the neighbor had moved. I was afraid that the answer would mark the end of a relationship I hold dear. As I idly watch the throngs of people passing by, I think about when I first met Arquade. If I ever met her, I probably never would have known who CL really was.
いや、違う。あいつと出会ってなかったら、先輩がどんな人なのかも知らないままだった。
She would have been just another student who suddenly disappeared, rather than someone special to me who I suddenly lost. Well, I don't think it mattered that much anyway, because in the previous route, she had the ability to erase your memories, so you probably wouldn't even have realized she was gone from your life. The least painful option, without a doubt, would be not knowing about any of this at all. Exactly.
でも、
Looking back, it wasn't all bad. The astonishingly beautiful vampire, and the fellow student clad in gallant armor. I wonder what happened to the two of them afterwards. Arkwade hated CL, and CL, given her position, would consider Arkwade an enemy. I can only hope that they went their separate ways without incident.
バカだな。なんでそんな心配をしてるんだ、俺。
Cause you care about them. Whatever happened, it's all over now. CL's objective was to take down Vlav, so she has no reason to stay in Soya anymore. That's why. It's pointless to think back on all that's happened.
そうだ。それでいいんだ。もう、あんな無茶をしなくていいんだから。
I stopped myself short. Why bother telling myself a lie that I would never buy? Even now, I have all these lingering feelings. My gratitude to CL, my hopes for what could have been. It's the same with Arkwade. Although she brought me nothing but trouble, our time together was, well, it was fun.
バカか俺は。先輩はともかく、あいつはどうでもいいじゃないか。
She almost got me killed. Why can't I get her out of my head? Remember how Vlad nearly killed you? Why would you want to go through something like that ever again? I sigh and rise to my feet.
もうすぐ夕方だ。屋敷に戻ろう。
Shaking my head to clear my thoughts, I leave the busy streets behind me. I wonder how many hours I was out. I was out for that long? Really? Or maybe not. My afternoon wasn't all that eventful in the end. After absentmindedly wasting time in my room, it didn't take long for dinner time to come around.
なんだろう。体中だるいな。なんか。
I try to shake off the fatigue weighing down on me like a cold. It must be the after effects of all the excitement the past few days. Now that things are calm again, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm sure another night's rest will put my mind in order. Akia is seated in the dining room with Kohaku at attention behind her, while Hisui has taken her position behind me. Kohaku has prepared a traditional Japanese dinner. The main dish is shiitake mushrooms, bigger, and probably more expensive than any I've ever seen. They're stuffed with meat, but overall the meat is on the healthy side. Akiha, wearing a bored expression, stabs one of her mushrooms with her fork. She brings it to her mouth without any comment on the food. She just returned to the mansion about an hour ago. Apparently, some unexpected problems arose and she had to dedicate most of her day to dealing with them.
翡翠、念のため聞いておくけど、うちの夕食って死後現金だったっけ？
I keep my voice to a soft whisper so that Akia doesn't hear.
いいえ、親族の皆様間での談話は自由に行われておりました。
じゃあ、アキハが黙っているのは単に機嫌が悪いだけ。
申し訳ありません。私には分かりかねます。あくまで憶測ですが、アキハ様はお疲れなのではないでしょうか。
そっか。そりゃそうだよな。いつも不機嫌だけど、今は特にご機嫌斜めだし。ほんと、ご苦労様だこと。
I nod in sympathy. I should probably give her some space to relax since her Sunday was ruined by extenuating circumstances, and I know better than to try to throw out a random topic. it's best to let sleeping Akihas lie.
聞こえていましたよ、兄さん。
That's also what I figured.
別に午後の視察で疲れているわけではありません。食事は静粛にが当家のマナーですから。
Ah, where's the fun in that? She glares at me sharply. I'm not surprised that she saw me talk to Hisui, but the fact that she actually overheard what we talked about is terrifying. Just how good is her hearing?
もっともそれも過去の話ですが、どうしても話がある、今日一日の出来事を語り合いたいというのであれば、その限りではありません。
Nodding in acknowledgement, I resume eating. Since I had a small breakfast and lunch, I've worked up a reasonable appetite for dinner. My compliments to the chef, Kohaku. These mushrooms are one of the most delicious things I've ever tasted. I tell Kohaku as much, which she takes in stride.
ありがとうございます。ですがこの勝利は当然なのです。今夜の食材は産地直送、恐れ多くも天皇陛下にもご献上されている一品ですもの。
I was right. These are expensive shiitake mushrooms indeed.
それで私の仕事ぶりをいたわってくれた兄さんは午後の休みをどのように過ごされたのです？
ああ、俺のことか。午後は散歩に出て、部屋に戻ってからはずっとベッドで横になってた。
それはまた貧血ですか？
いや、考え事をしていたら夜になっていただけだ。体の調子は悪くないよ。
つまり無意に時間を浪費したということですね。はあ、そんなくだらないことを堂々と口にしないでください。私は何とも思いませんが、他の人が聞けば笑い物になるだけですから。
I have no way of rebutting her merciless words, but I'm curious about something she said.
確かに自堕落に思われる発言だった。というか自堕落だった。反省している。けど、秋葉は何とも思わないってどうして？
Could it be that despite her strict demeanor, she's actually pretty lenient with her close relatives?
どうしても何もと、私は党の指揮に何も期待はしていませんから。
Ouch.
兄さんがそういう人であることは初めから承知の上です。
I see. There is certainly wisdom in that. You can't be disappointed if you're not hoping for anything. I'm truly at a loss for words.
いやー、ごちそうさまでした。
ごちそうさま。食後は習い事がありますので、私はこれで。
Practice? What are you practicing?
兄さん、反省なされたのでしたら、今夜は早めに部屋に戻って勉学に励んでくださいね。
Akia rises from her seat and leaves the dining room. With her gone, it suddenly feels like there's room to breathe. I thank Kohaku and Hisui for the meal, then head back to my room. I pass the time doing nothing in particular. I take a bath, study a little, and lie in bed. Everything is back to the way it was. The carnage and death of the past 2 days are now behind me. If I close my eyes and let the dark embrace of sleep take me, the embers burning inside me may just be put out. But something floats to the surface of my mind. My eyelids are shut, my brain is turned off, and still this vision comes back to me vividly. Which technically means your brain is not turned off. I see her in the midst of a raging blizzard, a cascade of sparks framing her figure. Of all the moments I will never forget, I wonder why this one stands out above the rest. It is a snapshot burned into my mind. Tears well uninvited beneath my eyelids as I recall this single moment. It feels like I've witnessed something I shouldn't have, like a prayer or oath spoken in utter desperation. Unable to bear it any longer, my eyelids fly open. I dry the corners of my eyes and look up at the ceiling I have yet to grow used to. Despite the quiet, calmness evades me. It's the same way I felt in TL's room 3 days ago. Now that I think about it, did I really spend the night in TL's room? I was racked with guilt over having killed someone, which I only forgot about after being around Arcwade. But if that night never happened, I don't think that Shikitono lying here now would exist. I wonder what that night meant to CL. Was she just extending a hand to me because she couldn't bear to leave me alone? Like I was an abandoned puppy in the rain?
そうだろうな。人助けが趣味なんだし、あの人。
I mumbled this as if reasoning with myself and shut my eyelids. And we open them again. Oh, nope, we're going to sleep. I passed the time in the days, hoping to distance myself from those memories and wash away the impressions they left on me. As long as I can manage this, the things that happened will all fade into the past. My consciousness drifts towards the abyss. Thus does my peaceful day off come to an end. I lie in bed and slide into a vague slumber, as if I can convince myself it will all fade away. I awake. It feels like someone called out to me. My body is heavy, weighed down by the desire to go back to sleep. But my mind, alert and aware, does not allow it. Maybe a little reading will do me some good. Probably get sleepy in no time sifting through some boring old records. I get out of bed and move to the adjoining room. I pick up a book from the bookshelf and open it to a random page. Immortality. If this word could be realized, it would surely be considered one of the defining features of eternity. However, a problem persists. There is no being in existence that has attained such a state. Even vampires who do not age, who can reawaken from death, prove no exception to this. For their immortality is defective. They cannot maintain it without feeding on the blood of others. Moreover, they can only feed on others of their own kind, predominantly humans, in this instance, which severely limits their versatility. What book did he just pick up? An encyclopedia for vampires? While they declare themselves superior beings, in truth they represent not evolution, but regression. In their dependence on others to sustain their life, they are no different from humans. But there do exist life forms close to perfection, perpetual motion machines in their own right. They have survived since times primordial. These beings feed on them and multiply their own bodies. The concept of lifespan is immaterial to them, whose old cells are recycled to nourish the new. Such creatures are called colonial organisms. Consider, for example, the jellyfish. However, this perpetual motion is only possible in the absence of sapience. If one is willing to accept eternity at the price of sapience, one may as well seek it in death. Similarly, one who seeks to maintain their human form for all eternity cannot do so through immortality. Over time, the body will decay and the mind will wither. Immortality versus eternity. I have no attachment to the time-worn idea of immortality. And eternity is an impossible, while one clings to the concept of individuality. Is this a diary? So, in conclusion, rather than merely prolong my individual existence to immortality, I have chosen to live for all eternity through infinitude. Your approach is certainly unique even among the ancestors. However, under your method, your eternal life would end in tandem with the extinction of humans, no? Your process requires a human fetus. In its reliance on external factors, it is no different from the longevity of the dead apostles. That is of no concern to me. Humans can only function properly in the company of other humans. If humanity were to go extinct, my own survival would be meaningless. I will die with them anyway, one way or another. So that is your answer. Immortality with a predetermined endpoint. What a singular notion. All dead apostles who were once mages seem to suffer from the same mania. They value their ideals more than their own existence. That said, what you propose is a far cry from eternity, serpent. No, it is eternity. Let extinction be total when it comes. Once none are left to observe it, the universe will fall into everlasting stasis. The fleeting time between now and the end of human life. That is my eternity. I cannot bring that end myself, thus my only choice is to live to see it. Well, that aside, I have found one thing to amuse myself with in the meantime. Is that why you went through the trouble of calling me here? You have done well to find this sea. I had not thought my old workshop of immortality might still be operational. You should be proud. Your work withstood 800 years of technological advances after all. I can devote myself to my experiments here without anyone interfering. They say that no one, not even the will of the planet itself, can find the wandering sea. Is that true? Until the new year, at least. Very well. I should be glad to accept the final request of a compatriot, especially one with only a year left in this world. I am also rather interested in your exploits in the northern seas. I am certain they will prove edifying. Well, we can save that for after we've resolved the issue at hand. It turned out to be rather a disappointment. Now then, allow me to enlighten you about the principle within you, about the sliver of mystics that spills over into reality. With that relic of Age of Gods, there is someone I would have you capture. Are we talking about Arcwade? Countless chains bind the vampire's limbs. The bonds, like vines rooted in the wall, hold the very air captive. He calls upon lightning to aid his escape, but there is no way out. The serpent awoke from his coffin in captivity, having no opportunity to retaliate, let alone flee. He is a fish caught in a net, an insect trapped in a spider's web, and the fate that awaits him is clear. A miserable death, captured and consumed. Okay, this is not Arcwade. The other Shiki? A merciless strike tears the vampire's heart out of his chest. Vampires possess a near immortal ability to regenerate, but that power is lost if the organ that transports blood is taken from them. Blood circulation is the only thing vampires have in common with living creatures. The moment they lose that, their powers are greatly diminished. In fact, it would be preferable to have one's heart crushed. Even deprived of magical energy in its blood, the body can still function well enough to regenerate a destroyed heart. But not when the heart is ripped out of wholesale. When the heart and soul are separated from the flesh, the body will quickly decay. An inexorable decline. Like an old man running out of ways to cheat death. Sounds about right. Give that back. He may have screamed, but his prayer goes unheard. Chains have torn out his throat so only bone remains. His chest, where his lungs would be, has rent asunder, leaving Vampire unable to even scream in anguish.
それが遺言？今度のは特に粗末だったのね、ロア。
Oh, she captured him in this one. A beautiful voice bids him farewell. The vampire's hand falls outstretched, as if begging for life. His body has completely ceased to function. His name is Roa. It is an extremely one-sided end for the vampire who spent over 10 years remaking the grounds beneath Soya.
待て待て、ちょっと待ち上がれてめえ。
Wait, she was working with him? By the time Mario Gallobestino arrives at the scene, the tragedy has already been committed. Inside this clandestine chamber where not even moonlight shines are the stone coffin of the vampire and his body that is now carrion. And standing over it all is a woman in white, a vampire princess holding the dead vampire's heart in her left hand.
あら、誰かと思えば見知った匂い。あなた、もしかしてラウレンティスの子？
今はそっちとは関係ねえよ。マリオと呼んでくれ。くそ、目を離した隙にこれかよ。ロアの野郎は完全に死んじまったな。これで次は何年後だ？
さあ、
あいつの事情なんて知らないわ。今まで通り行くのならまた17年ぐらい。
17年。17年だと。
Chagrined, Mario glares at the corpse. The expression on his face is close to pure hatred.
それじゃ間に合わねえんだよ。どうしてくれる？なんだってそんなにやる気に溢れてやがるんだよてめえ。いつもの無気力さはどこに行った？ジジイの話じゃ淡々と使徒の末端から潰していくって話だが。
I wonder if that means she was always working with them in the other route too. We just never got to see that point of view until we actually visited CL's route.
いつもの私？いつもの私って言った？
See, that's the way they worded that. That means, you know, she used to be a different person until she met Shiki. So, that could be the case.
そっか。そうね。今までの私なら確かにもうちょっと時間をかけたかも。でも今回は1秒も無駄にしたくなかったの。ロアなんかに使う時間がもったいなくて。
ただの気まぐれかよ。なんだそれ。なんか悪いもんでも食べたのか？それとも故障が近いのか？精密機械が気分でパターン変えてんじゃねえよ、くそ。
Mario's foul mouth is nothing out of the ordinary, but his tone betrays his crumbling composure. If he had kept a cool head, his typically observant eye might have noticed the change in the woman sooner.
つまりあれか。代行者どもが頑張りすぎた。てめえが27歳とやり合っていればこんな結果にはならなかったわけか。
ええ。もし私だけでブローブと戦っていたら今頃は眠っていたでしょうね。新参者ではあったけど、そうである以上は強敵だったんだろうし。
はあ、やけに素直じゃねえか。強敵。強敵ね。てめえの口からそんな単語が出るとは夢にも思わなかったぜ。
そう？弱くても厄介な相手だったんだから強敵と言うべきじゃないの？
だから厄介な相手なんて感想を持たなかったんだよ、今までのあんたはな。
Mario clicks his tongue in distaste. As she endures his murderous gaze, the vampire princess is moved by understanding.
まあいい。終わったことをうだうだ言っても時間の無駄だ。人生残り少ねえんだし、前向きにいかねえとな。今代の死とロアはこれで消滅。次の発生まで10年以上の時間がかかる。この町での事件はめでたく解決。ロアが死んだことで死者も共倒れ、あとはポコポコ出てくる身元不明の遺体を裁くだけの簡単なお仕事だ。
あなた、代行者たちを連れてすぐに帰らないの？
帰りたいのは山々だがな。片足突っ込んだ手前、最後まで面倒見るしかねえだろ。けどな、お姫様、あんたはいいのかよ、それで。へ
え、いいって何が？
ロアの野郎に横取りされたあんたの容量の話だ。その体、いい加減限界なんだろう。吸血衝動を抑えるにはロアを真の意味で殺すしかない。こんな使い捨ての体を殺した程度じゃ奪われたものは戻らない。今回が最後のチャンスだったんじゃないか。なんだって問答無用で始末しちまったんだ。せめて生かした状態で血を吸えば何割かは取り戻せただろうに。
Mario's voice carries none of its usual venom. He only speaks of such recourse out of earnest concern for her well-being. Make the pure vampire princess drink blood. He knows what an absurd suggestion it is. Her lips move. Mario can already hear their beauty reply, but not on my life.
ああ、その手があったか。
She stares unblinkingly at the heart clutched in her left hand, looking for all the world as though she is about to press her lips to it. Mario's astonishment tears the words from his mouth. To think that he would ever bear witness to something so unfathomable, in this far-flung eastern land no less.
でもやっぱりやらない。こんな生き物を私のものにしたいと思えないし。
Her white fingers swiftly and elegantly crush the heart. Blood spurts from it, insolently staining her porcelain cheek. A final protest from a serpent denied even his death throes. She wipes away a droplet of his anguish and touches it to her tongue. Oh, don't do that.
ほら、まだ温かい血液でも哀れなぐらいまずいんだもの。
Her tongue rides, rather than blood. Her smile is the very magic that melts the hearts of men.
お前そんな側だったか。
The vampire princess ignores Mario's question. That smile is her only reply. She gracefully brushes past him.
帰らないのなら別にいいけど、次に私の後をつけたらあなたたち全部皆殺しよ、マリオネット。
The woman's footsteps echo to the underground cavern. Mario does not move until the sound fades completely. His legs tremble with fear. I will kill every single one of you. Is she referring to Mario and his subordinates? Every member of the church in the country? Or perhaps every member on the planet? He knows exactly what she meant. That is why all he can do is stand, struck dumb, in the darkness.
ふざけんな。ロアどころの話じゃねえ。あの女どうなってやがる。
Mario's voice comes out in a whisper. Arkwright Brunstad has changed, and what that entails is too terrifying to contemplate. For the first time in ages, I wake up feeling rested and refreshed. I open my eyes and my mind whirls awake. Plagued by none of my usual sluggishness, I reach for my glasses and put them on, restoring my vision to sanity.
驚いたな。今朝はめちゃくちゃ調子いいぞ。
Oh man, Arak really did a number for us. Is this because I took it easy all day yesterday? Or did Professor Arak's IV treatment really work? Whatever the case, I feel good. Really good. A little too good if anything. Maybe I should actually be concerned. Someone knocks on the door. 10 or so seconds pass in silence, then Hisui enters the room with a bow.
失礼します。
おはよう翡翠。今朝もありがとう。
おはようございます、四季様。お目覚めになられていたのですね。
昨日はぐっすり眠ったから。着替えたらすぐに食堂に行くよ。お腹も減ってるし、琥珀さんに朝食はちょっと多めにしてほしいと伝えてもらえる？
かしこまりました。姉さんも喜ぶと思います。
Hisui bows and turns to leave the room. Sensing that something seems different about her today, I call out to her.
翡翠、何かいいことでもあった？
はい。四季様のお顔の色が大変よろしいので、お世話役としてこれに勝る喜びはありません。
I can feel the love from here. With that, Hisui leaves the room. As far as Hisui's concerned, saying things like that is probably just part of the job, but still catches me off guard.
うん、それはどうも。
Mumbling to myself, I scratch the back of my burning neck with one hand.
いや、ゆだってる場合じゃない。せっかく体調がいいんだ。テキパキ着替えないと。
I take a deep breath, hop out of bed, and get ready for the day.